In this lesson, I'll introduce two new Python keywords called break and continue that allow us to alter the natural behavior of a loop, offering additional flexibility to control the repeated sequences of statements in our code. I'll say a word or two about how to avoid getting stuck in infinite loops, and as always, we'll conclude with a practice problem for you to internalize this new material. The only mechanism we've discussed so far that allows us to stop iterating in a while loop is the condition included in its header. When that condition evaluates to false for the first time, the loop exits. But sometimes it's useful to be able to exit the loop halfway through the execution of its body. And this is what the break statement allows us to do. A break statement can appear anywhere in the body of a loop, but we'll typically find it in the following context. Here we see the header of the while loop and the set of statements forming its body. But somewhere along the body, we use an if statement to check for an additional condition to exit the loop. If that condition is true, the break statement executes and the loop ends right away. A common situation in which this code pattern comes in handy is when the condition to exit the loop relies on a calculation that needs to run beforehand and whose result was not available at the time the condition at the header of the loop is checked. Let me show you an example where we can take advantage of this code pattern. This program executes a sequence of actions in a loop. First, it asks the user to enter a message on the keyboard, and then that message is simply echoed back into the terminal. This process is repeated indefinitely until the user enters word quit. We detect this condition with an if statement in the body of the loop and run break if the condition is true. In this example, it's necessary to execute the first part of the body of the loop, in which we read the message from the keyboard, in order to determine whether we should stay in the loop or not. At the time the condition in the loop header is evaluated, we don't have that information yet, so we can't solely rely on it to decide when to exit the loop. Since the condition in the loop header doesn't play a meaningful role in this code, we simply set it to true, as if we were executing an infinite loop. This means that we fully rely on an eventual execution of the break statement to exit the loop. After the process completes, this program prints a final goodbye message into the console. Feel free to pause the video at this time if you'd like to type this program in the code editor and execute it yourself. If you enjoyed this content, you may watch the rest of this lesson at computersciencecamp.com, linked in the description below. You'll be able to follow along with coding samples and problems in our embedded code editor. Drop your questions in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to help support the channel. Thank you, and happy coding!